the university staff have warned that it would lead to academic sweatshops and affect standards. Now, is this justified?
It's frightening that we are in 2010 debating the length of a degree and saying whether it should be 2 years, it should be 3 years, it should be 4 years, when we all know that we learn at different paces. The argument should not be the length of time. It should be the depth of knowledge acquired within a period of time based on the individual response and interest in that subject. We should do a root and branch change in the entire educational system, because I have senior students, I have mentored students that have been able, at the age of 12, access degree level knowledge. So it's not the length of time. I'm thinking 12-year-old, normal, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, being able to literally graduate, write the final year paper at university. So they are just talking to the wrong person. The issue should be whether or not that 12-year-old, 13-year-old, or 14-year-old is sufficiently interested in mathematics to go through the rigor and the enjoyment and the satisfaction of doing maths, or sufficiently interested in PE to do the degree program at that stage. So the length of time was set when you and I knew that the only means of transportation was on the horseback. It's very archaic. That's the best way I can put it. So who said a degree has to last 4 years or 3 years or 2 years? Who's done the study? And when was it done? And you find out when it was done at the beginning of the last century. We need to revise it and say, how best can we efficiently deliver this knowledge, and rather than how long it's going to take. So I'm fundamentally opposed to even the concept, the premise of this saying that it should be a 2-year degree program. Because I know of students that have completed a entire degree program in 1 year from one of the most high-ranking universities in the world. And I know students have done it in 2 years. And their knowledge and their skill was comparable with other people that spent 5 years doing it.
So what are your recommendations?
My recommendation is a total rewriting of what we now call educational achievement, a total redefinition of attainment, which is based on exam, passing exam or failing exam, a review of the individual learning style of the person we are looking at, and then from there we tailor-made degrees, diplomas, and whatever qualifications we are looking at. So it might take you 2 years to do it, it might take another person 1 year to do it, it might take a third person 6 months to do it. We cannot predetermine and say, on the average, it's going to take 4 years, and therefore every person comes in. What if you run at a faster pace than I do? Are you going to be head backward because of me? Or am I going to now say, because I am slower, I'm picking up concepts, and the concepts are not concepts that I would practice anyway. I should now come up with an overarching, blunt instrument saying, you must do your degree in 4 years. Because we know people that have spent 8 years doing their PhDs, and we know students that have done 3 years doing their PhD, and we know who did the contribution more. So if we have that for research degree, we should build that flexibility to undergraduate level.
Undergraduate level. Thank you very much. Now, viewers, if you've got comments on that, or you think, should university degrees be reduced to just 2 years? Or what are your recommendations? Send emails to brunch@loveworldtv.co.uk. Let's see what the new Education Secretary Michael Gove is actually saying. He has confirmed that he's closing down the Qualifications and Curriculum Agency, the QCDA. Mr. Gove has written to the chairman of the Quango to say he will bring forward legislation in the autumn to scrap it. Now, what is the implication of doing this?
It will be a side there. I'm very happy that he's wanted to review the fact that an independent body is doing it. But I want to see what he's replacing it with. Because the QCA was there as an independent body, different from the institutions that teach, to assess the students that have been taught by the various institutions and teachers. So if you now ask teachers to assess their students, you are almost always going to run into this problem of conflict of interest. So for us to retain independence, integrity, because that's what is at stake here, and to say, incontrovertibly, this student is an A student, this student is a B student, and regardless of the geographical location of the school, because this is an overarching national umbrella that assesses all students of a particular age at a particular point in time. And it's supervised by a body of specialists that have nothing to gain or lose from one school advancing or not advancing. So if you are saying they are Quango, using the word that is bandied about now and say you want to cut costs, you want to cut out the Quangos. If you are saying you are Quangos, what do you have as a replacement for who will carry out the independent assessment. If you have something fantastic, I will salute him, I will encourage him, and I will say, yes, that's a good thing to do. But if you're just going to go back to the old game of allowing the institutions to police themselves, then that's not good enough. Not good enough for this age, not good enough for our future, because our national and international competitors are doing something radically different from us. So they are establishing the benchmark for assessment, they have milestones, and they are pushing the advances in a very aggressive way. I keep saying this. Look at India. Look at what India is doing with the ITTA, the Special Technology Institute. Look at what's happening in Bangalore, India. Look at the way technology has completely changed things around. Let's go to Beijing. Look at what Beijing is doing. Look at what China is doing. So they are not even doing their own quietly and secretly. They're doing it openly. Their emphasis is on standards. Their emphasis is on milestone. Their emphasis is on achievement, because they know they can achieve it. But we seem to be deluding ourselves, and some of our students cannot do this, other students can do this. So we want to build in failure into our system and promote mediocrity.
Now, let's go back to the cuts we talked about and the students' places. Because of the cuts of £449 million in universities, there will be 6,000 less students' places by this autumn. What can students and parents do?
Yes, this is where the competition really comes in. Competition comes in, and the regrettable thing is that the Liberal Democrat is part of this government, and the Liberal Democrat published before the election their emphasis on pupils, the emphasis on education. I'm very saddened by that, very saddened by the fact that the promise that they made pre-election was not one of the core issues they negotiated with the Conservative. I think the Liberal Democrats should come back and say, look, before the election, we told the electorates this about education. They were the most formal, the most forward-looking party before going to this election. Now they cannot compromise on this. They should come back and really re-educate the Conservative to let them know that education is not something that you compromise on. They should come back and say, yes, this is what we're going to do. Because what it really means for the parents and the students is that there's going to be more competition. It's going to be very fierce, nothing that you've seen the like before. It means that you're going to turn up with a B grade and may be rejected by your university. It means that every letter you get from UCAS saying that we have not given you a place here, we would like you to come here and study this at our university, is not what the piece of paper is written on, except you make your grade or exceed your grade. Because if you just drop one step down, there are 5 other people who will have achieved that grade, and they will be given a place. Now we have limited spaces. With limited spaces, fiercer competition. So if you're somebody in year 13 and you're watching this program, or year 12, you're watching this program, you're thinking of your future, and you honestly, or your parents of year 12 or year 13, you should be doing something very, very serious. Pick up things like the Secret of Exam Subsidies, the video, and go through it. Know that your revision technique has to be finer than fine. Know that you have to work in partnership with other students. Know that you have to do your mock papers and give it to a third party to assess and mark you, not you doing it yourself. Know that you're not going for an exam now, you're going for a competition. Because an exam is that you can get 50%, you pass. But competition means that we have 3 medal positions. It's either gold or silver or bronze. So even if you come 4th, no matter how close you are, you get nothing. So the effort you put in to get 4th position, better add a little bit to it so that you can get a 3rd position and then get your position in the university. Because that's essentially what it's become now. University places are now competitive places you want to go into. And you don't want to lose out.
Thank you, Dr. Chris. Now, for students and parents, if you want the video Secrets of Exam Success, you can actually go to imafidon.com to get the video. We're running out of time now, but first of all, let's talk about academies. Michael Gove is now offering to all secondary and high schools in the country that are outstanding to actually become academies. What do you think about this? They are no longer going to be under local authority control.
This is what you celebrate. It's almost like Christmas come early. This is the best day, the best news anybody can hear. That the schools were originally started by voluntary agencies, run by voluntary agencies. The cornerstone of learning was in the church, was in charitable organization of the church, and they ran the schools and they ran it very well. But the government came in and interfered and thought they could run it better. Now they've run it and ran it to the ground. We have failure rates, we have graduation rate that is ludicrous. If anybody came from outer space and said that as high as 60% of our boys and girls don't graduate from high school, they don't get 5 A to C's at GCSE, they will wonder whether we are intelligent beings. So if they are not going to hand it over back to the original people that started it, then that's good. That's something. It means the churches